Good morning. Magnus and I thought we would begin the video today by suggesting that you should be dancing. Really? You should be dancing, don't you think? Yes. All right, I'm just going to put Magnus down for a second. I'll be back. So I can go over here. Please bear with me, because I have to go to the other screen. I promise you that at some point I'm going to figure this out. Some helpful soul is going to take me by the hand and say, oh dear. All right, so there we go. C. Yeah, I have to close that. Close that. Close that. And here we are. Mute that. Mute. Okay. All right then. I now have the other screen up. It's 10 o'clock on Thursday. It's the 3rd of February. And here we are back again. Magnus and I, Magnus the brave dancing Viking, and I are here. And I've chosen to wear a jacket that sort of blends with Magnus's look. You see, I have my whole beige, they'll never see us coming. They'll never see us coming, Magnus. They'll never see us coming. Subtle. I have the subtle redhead Viking look today. Good morning, everyone. I'm back to talk about this wonderful, wonderful opportunity that we have together, you and me, to do something different that people don't normally do. And the reason I want to do something different that people don't normally do is because I can't resist doing this either. For those of you who are fans of Mom, I just thought we would say hello. That was rude. Good morning, dear. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. There. So we've heard from Magnus, and we've heard from Mom, and now it's up to me. So, and this hair. All right, so here's the deal. There's a lot of unhappiness going on. There really is. And I'm not seeing a lot of positivity because A, it's cold, B, it's snowing, and C, there's stuff, right? We're all dealing with stuff. I'm just wondering, oh, Jeremy, there you are. Good morning, Jeremy. Jeremy's there. All right. Yay. Oh, Valerie, yes. Lyle, good morning, Lyle. Good morning. Oh, this is exciting. You're all chiming in. This is so cool. All right, you see when I pay attention to this whole thing I've set up, it actually works. All right, so here's the deal. It's not going well. I think that's a good summary. I think it's an understatement. It's not going well. Ottawa, Canada, where I am from, is going through a metaphor for everything else. Eddie, good morning, darling. Steve, good morning. Ottawa, Canada is going through a metaphor for the entire COVID situation. If you if you just don't do anything, you pretty much get everything. I think that's a fair assessment. It's a fair summary, and it's ridiculously stupid in so many ways that it's not worth going into the details. It just, that's kind of the umbrella statement. It's stupid what's going on. And I want to touch on it a little bit because otherwise I look and sound like I have no idea what's going on and I'm living in a cave, which is clearly not true. I'm on air and I'm in a yellow room and I have shoes and feather fascinators and Vikings and whatnot. But here's the thing. When we feel frustrated, we kind of revert. We're between the age of 5 and 9 when we didn't have any control over anything. When we were 5, everything on the counter was too tall unless we could figure out how to push a chair. And when we were 9, it felt like we should have more control, but somebody else was calling the shots. And that's where we go when all of a sudden we don't have any control. And we start saying the kinds of things that when we stop and listen to ourselves and say, well, that was embarrassing. Why am I talking like that? So the situation as I see it is this. We can stand there and kvetch and accomplish nothing. Nothing. Zip. Or we can say, all right, so what else can we do? What else can we do? We can ignore it, but that's a function of doing nothing. So we can do something else. We can create a different kind of conversation. We can engage in something else. And in the decision to engage, in the decision to connect, we are gaining control over what is going on in our immediate surrounding. As soon as we say, I choose this, we've made a decision. If we don't like it, we can say, okay, I chose it, and boy was that wrong, so now I'm going to choose this. We have every right to do that. I speak as a woman who has done it almost every day of her life. And it is in that way that we can feel a little bit better about everything. If we choose things rather than allow ourselves to be spectators. Choose something. When it doesn't work, say, ooh, and choose something else. I mean, I have gone into restaurants a great deal of my life because the other option was me cooking, and I have said, oh, that looks good, and sometimes it was, and the other times, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was an incredibly clever advertising, but inappropriate. And so I chose something else. I didn't say, well, that's it, I'm never going to go to a restaurant again, because the option was, of course, me cooking. So you try something else, and you try something else, and you try something else. And the reason you try something else is for you to feel that you got this. It's not in order to fit in. It's not in order to comply. It's not in order to be a part of that. It's for us to feel, all right then, we got this. We don't have that, but, we got this. That is really important because it gives us a feeling that we are on a path. I posted this amazing picture I found this morning. There's a group of people who work on the Mississippi River, and several of them are amazing photographers. And the picture I posted this morning on my Facebook page was a paddle wheel steamer, completely surrounded by the mist. But it wasn't docked, it was moving, because even when it's foggy and we can't see our path, we got to keep going if we ever want to get to where we want to go, right? So I know I'm full of metaphors today. It must have been something I ate. So today I want to talk a little bit more purposefully about my idea that together we create a book about pivoting, about doing something else, because the previous thing's clearly not working. And I could tell my stories, and people would say, oh, look, it's a book about Abby Haggard by Abby Haggard. Well, I wonder if that's going to be interesting. Or I could get together with you and have you tell me your pivot stories. And then people would say, oh, look, it's a book about a bunch of people who, well, they all seem to be friends with Abby Haggard, and oh, it's their stories. She's not going on about herself for a change. How interesting is that? Let's turn the page and see what we find. Because we're looking for connections to people who feel like us all the time. And we're also looking for, as I've said, ways to feel like we got this. So the story I want to, oh, good morning, Phil Curry. How are you? What else have we got? Steve, Lyle, and Jeremy. Pardon me for just a second. I just want to check, make sure I haven't missed anybody. Steve, Jeremy. Yeah, that's everybody there. Okay, good. Keeners. Okay, so here's my story. I accidentally fell into show business. I thought I had a good idea, and I gave it a whirl, and it worked. And I wrote a show and staged the show in an unusual place. And basically out of blind curiosity, all the people I invited came. So I had Steve Statham, good morning. I had all these people, all these producers and all these directors and all these, influencers in the entertainment industry in the room. And I thought, oh, well, so all I have to do now is not blow it. So I did the show. And this extraordinary thing happened the next day. The phone rang, and it was a producer with a major network who said, hi, saw your show. That was a really interesting idea. Would you like a television series? And I thought, can it really be this easy? And I said, I'd love a TV series. Do you pay money for me to do this? And they said, of course we do. And I said, alrighty then, I'll be right over. And I went over and I signed a contract, and we did the show. And they paid money. And I've talked about this before. It was a show where I got to interview celebrities. And they gave me all kinds of fabulous clothing to wear. And they took me to do things that made me look like an absolute ridiculous fool. And that was pretty funny. And pardon me, Bill, you have just said something very true. Sometimes when you pivot in the wrong direction. That's right. And then you say, all right, Phil, I'm well from Texas. How's the weather down there, Phil? I hear you're getting snow. I'm sorry. How's the weather down there, Phil? I hear you're getting snow. Lousy actor. When I got this series, we had a great time. We did amazing things. I got to interview the most extraordinary people and go and do the most fabulous stuff. And one of our episodes won an award. It was amazing. I forget which one it was. I think I interviewed, it might have been Chris Christopherson. And I was so astonished that we won an award, and all of a sudden we were on the map. The show was on the map against all odds. And then you know what happened the very next week? Yeah, the show was canceled because there was a strike, and they were striking against union striking against freelancers. And I was a freelancer because I wasn't part of the network. I wasn't on contract with the network. I was a freelancer. So you couldn't just get rid of me since I was the host of the show. So they canceled the show. And so there I was, famous in my very small pond. So everybody knew who I was. Oh, that's Abby Aguirre. Yeah, who was unemployed. And, oh, Abby, gosh, I love your show. I haven't seen you lately. Is there a problem? No. And so I didn't know what to do, because all of a sudden when you're too famous, you can't just go and get a job working at Macy's, because they say, oh, you wouldn't want to work here. Yes, I would. Really? Yeah, I would. So I got a call from a friend of mine, this fabulous, crazy, wonderful friend of mine, who said, do you want some work? Yes. Okay, you need to come and see me. What are you doing? Well, I'm working at a company that does singing balloon telegrams. And I said, so the second problem is that I don't sing. He said, listen, I'm going to tell you a secret. Everybody can sing 2 songs. No matter how bad, everybody can sing 2 songs, as long as they sing them loud enough. One is Happy Birthday, and the other is Jingle Bells. Jingle Bells won't come up that often, but Happy Birthday, all the time. And you, being a comedian, will figure out that if it's Happy Anniversary and you sing Happy Birthday, people will just figure you're the wingnut, and that's why they love you. And I said, what's the other thing? And he said, well, you get to wear a costume. I said, what do you mean? He said, you're famous. So you'll get to wear a costume and nobody will know it's you. And I said, how will they not know it's me? I look exactly like me. He said, you're going to be surprised. They're not going to be thinking about it being Abby. They're going to think about it being, oh my God, I ordered balloons for my sister and she's going to hate every minute of it. It's a kind of delicious revenge, and you're perfect for the job. And I said, do you pay money? And he said, yeah, we do. We pay a lot of money. So I swallowed my pride and my ego, and I put down my award because, and I got in the car and I drove over. And he said, here's your clown suit. How the mighty are fallen. So I put on the clown suit. And the first place I went was a government building in the rain. So I drove to this building, and Ottawa being the capital of Canada, every third building in Ottawa essentially is a government building. Some of them don't look like it, but they are. And I got to the government building and I had to sign in because even though I was dressed like a clown, apparently they wanted to identify me as separate and apart from all the other clowns working there. And then somebody came to fetch me to take me to the place where we were going to go, surprise! And so here I am. I have this costume and I have the white makeup and I have balloons, and off we go. And we get to this room and there's nobody there. And I said, and she said, well, now I'm going to hide you. Hide me? Yeah, in the closet. Opens the closet, shoves me in, close the door. Boom! Silence. Also dark, and I'm standing there thinking, when I get out of here, I'm going to drive back to the balloon place and kill my friend. That will keep me going until the doors open again. And the doors didn't open for a long time. And when they eventually opened, I had long since, lost my interest and focus and attention. My adrenaline had, and I was really basically standing there thinking about the origin of the species and should I have pork chops for supper, when all of a sudden somebody yoinked open the door and 50 people screamed surprise at me. And I reacted typically as you would expect I would react. The word is badly. Badly. And there were two people in the room who had the exact same expressions on their face. Me and the poor soul whose birthday it was. Both of us were this. So I jumped out. And I sang and danced and thrust the balloons at the guy, gave him a big red clown smoochy kiss on the cheek, and walked out of the room with the woman following me who had the money to pay me. And oh my God, that was the best time. And all the way down, sign out, clown, yep. Get in the car, it's raining, I'm wet, and drive back to the place where they're going to pay me after I, And I said, okay, here's the deal. I did this wrong. I'm not wearing your clown suit. Because they took one look at me and said, well, that's a clown, and treated me accordingly. Since I wasn't accompanied by a pony, I was clearly there for their benefit. And so I was no longer someone to gaze in amazement at. And I said, I'm going to come up with my own costume. And I did. And the costume was this. I found a grown person size pinafore, a little girl dress. And I found knee socks, and I found a pair of bright red Mary Jane shoes. And for those of you who don't know what Mary Jane shoes are, they're basically little girl shoes with a strap across the ankle. And I put my hair up in pigtails with bright ribbons.
And I talk like this. And I would say, hello, everybody. My mommy said there's a birthday, and that you're going to sing, and I'm not leaving until you do.
And so I became this hateful, small, but adorable looking little girl who would show up at places, and I was so adorable to look at.
With my balloons. Hi, is there a party? I'm here for the party. I brought balloons and everything. Hi.
And so I would do that in restaurants. I would know where the poor schmo was who I was going to sing to, but I would stop at every table and say,
hi, I'm here for the party. Don't tell him, okay? Where's his table? Over there? Are you sure? Okay. Oh, I love your dress. That's so pretty. You should wear that color all the time.
And I would go through the entire restaurant. I would take up most of the time that I was supposed to be there singing at the guy until I owned the entire place. And then when I would get to the guy, I would lean over to the guy and I would say,
Hi. Better you than me.
and hand him the balloons, and he's there. And then I would have everybody sing happy birthday, so I didn't really have to. And then I would leave, and people loved her. Why? Because she took charge. Because she took control of the situation. Because I realized something extremely important. When people give a party, they don't know what to do next. Let's have a party. I'll bring trail mix. And everybody says, good idea. So they all bring trail mix. So it needs always to have someone at the front of the boat saying, that way, that way, that way. Because everybody who got in the boat, that's as far as they got. They came up with the idea of getting in the boat, and that was it. So, what I figured out was pivoting, and I'm going to pivot just for now because I suddenly see there are more comments here. Oh, and I don't see how I can see them. All right, what if I do this? Daniel! Good morning, Daniel. How lovely of you to join us. All right, are we here? I'm just really scary. And we've got Montreal, and we've got Ottawa, and we've got Toronto, and we've got, so exciting, Michigan. Oh boy. All right, pivoting. When I decided that I was going to own my moment, I wasn't the star of a television show. I was a balloon delivery clown. Okay, was that the best I could do? Yes, that was all that was available to me. All right, then stop complaining and own it. Find a way to own it. What can I do? What can I do that is totally different? The clown thing didn't work, and I'm certainly not going to wear that gorilla suit because I worked hard to look svelte. I'm not. Two things a gorilla suit isn't. The first is slimming. You see? The second one is air conditioned. So, not wearing a gorilla suit. No longer ever wearing a clown suit. Clown suits diminish you in everyone's eyes. However, taking ownership, channeling your inner Viking, and saying, I don't know about you, but I'm dancing. That's how it works. That's how we recharge. That's how we reach down deep and find joy. That's how we say, the way Ratso Rizzo did in Midnight Cowboy, I'm walking here. We claim our tiny 2 feet of space. It's ours. We establish boundaries that are good enough for us, that matter to us. We draw a heart-shaped line, and we select the people who can be inside that heart with us, and the ones who we will respectfully ask to step outside the heart, and we will love them from a distance, because we have stuff to do. We have places to go. We have exciting things to see. And we have wonderful discoveries to make. That's why we're here. I was working with a client recently who said, I know I'm here for a purpose. And I hesitated to say, yes, to help me pay my rent. I felt that would probably not be taken well. Although, measure of truth, I think what we forget is that we're allowed to shift. If we're living in a place that no longer works for us, we're allowed to move. If we're doing a job we no longer love, we're allowed to look for the job. If we're in a situation with people who have changed the way they see the world, and it's not consistent with our view, we're allowed to love them and leave them. We have that permission. It's ours to choose. And in the midst of this recent issue, where people are not being kind, people are pointing fingers, usually out of fear, so it's virtually impossible to engage in a conversation. It means that that boat isn't going anywhere. The title I gave to the video today is, "If the dock is on fire, get in the boat. If it's not working, it's time to move." "Oh, but I love it here." Okay. I want to tell you another very quick story before I go back to this whole business of how we're going to do books together. I hit a wall professionally a few years ago, and actually chose to walk away from show business for a while until I cleared my head. I was caught up in a frivolous lawsuit. Someone decided to show me a thing or two. "Take her down a peg," was how he was quoted, for no particular reason. Probably he had a bossy nanny, I don't know. And it didn't go well. It cost me almost everything. And because I was well known, it was published everywhere. I was on the 6 o'clock news for no reason. Because the point was moot. What had gone wrong had been fingers. And so there I was. And by the way, colorful and easy to spot. And it was very difficult for me to continue and feel positive and good about things. So I made a decision to move. I made a decision to walk away from a lot of things that I had that mattered to me, but were preventing me from moving easily. So I called an auction house, and I said, I need to just start again, and I don't know how to do this. And the man who owned the auction house said something incredibly important to me. I've never forgotten it. I'm going to share it with you. He said that someone once told him, "Make a list of the things that would break your heart to lose, and then keep them, and jettison everything else." And I did. And, you know, I could say it was a happy ever after when the trucks came and they took away all the other stuff that I said, "There, I'm free." No, when the trucks came and took away everything else, I thought, "Oh my God, what have I done?" And it was a very, very difficult time, but not a happy time at all for me. But I needed to do it. I needed to, it's like purging and cleansing and minimal stuff. Only terrible. House, car, stuff, things I'd treasured and kept with me for years. Only takes so much stuff. And I did it. And I survived. It took a while. It took a long while. But I survived. I'm back. And I'm good with it. It was hard. Hardest thing I have ever voluntarily done. Really hard. Bitter about it. Exhausted by it. And a way to think and lick my wounds. And then said, "Okay, I'm ready. I'm back. Where's the boat? Let's do this." And I know that a lot of us are going through this. I know it's hard. I really do. I know that we're losing things that matter. And we want them back. The thing is that we don't get them back. We don't get them back because what we do get is the opportunity to build new, to create new, to own new, lovely, magnificent, glorious new, that reflects who we are now, not who we were then, who we are now. And why that matters, my lovelies, is that who we are now is a product of all the best and the worst of who we were then, and we're shaping it and shifting it to work for us, to help us into the boat, to get us facing the right direction, to pick up the oar, say, how you doing, to the guy in the next seat, and begin to row. That's the job. That's the purpose. That's why we're here. That's the goal. Honest. I wouldn't lie to you. So, the project. The book is going to be called Pivot Masters of the Galaxy. We're going to talk about pivot mastery in the book. The same way I asked all my kids and my showbiz friends for their definition of fame. I'm going to be saying to everyone who wants to be in the book, who had a pivot, who had a shift, who had a huge, oh my God, moment in their lives that they simply couldn't ignore and had to go along with. They're going to tell me their stories. I'm going to ask questions. We'll do some of it privately. We'll do some of it on video. And I'll transcribe it. And it's going to be an amazing book. It's going to be the foundation, the definition of Story Me TV. You and me together. We're going to sail off into history and make history as we go. We're all going to tell our story, our version of what it feels like to be a pivot master. I hope you like it. I think it's amazing. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to start reaching out to you. I have your names. My friend Jeremy went out of his way to buy Fame the other day because I made him curious enough to see what was on the inside. And he said a couple of really lovely, charming things. He said he's really enjoying it, and he expected that he would read it for a while, but the way he was going, it was going to be done by the next day. And he was curious to find out what his favorite stars from the days when he was a kid were like now, what they were saying to me, what as adults we were talking about together. He wanted to know. And he wanted to know badly enough that he bought the book. And I thought that was lovely. Because this is the other reason I want to talk to you. And you should want to talk to me. You've made a big investment. You've committed your time to watch these videos. Hopefully, to get to know me, Abby, the girl who created Mom, and Friend Bear, and Wish Bear, and Love a Lot Bear, and Eleanor Tweedy, darling. You've made a commitment to find out who I am. You want to know who I am now because you're all grown up now. So there's really two of you getting to know me. There's inner you, who is still 12 or 14, however old you were when you watched. Because here I am, as inept at videos as everybody else. And I think that's the foundation of incredible stories. I think that's the story me adrenaline rush that everybody's going to have when they say to themselves, we should talk to him. and she talked to her. I I think I'm ready to have her talk to me. And that's how we're going to do it. That's the boat. That's the boat. And that's where we're going. Are you excited? Nod your head. Okay. I've talked over time. Imagine Abby went on long. Who knew? I've talked long, but I hope it was worthwhile. So I'm going to start reaching out because I want to get this book going. You can ask each other. Talk amongst yourselves. What's it like? Do you know her? You know who does know me? I'll tell you who knows me. It lies. It's akin to being a student and a teacher. Back then we were kids and students. Now that we're grown up, we're peers. Yes, we are. So Eddie knows me. And Thomas Hendricks knows me. And Andy Conrad knows me. And all the people in Ottawa know me. And if you want to find out, like, can I trust her? Like, is she going to write something good? Ask them. Open. Oh, you can't open the fame book. You can go to Amazon. You can go to Amazon.com and type Abby Hagyard fame, and it shows the front and the back. And you can look at the pictures, and you can say, I wonder what it was like for them to be interviewed by her. And you can find them on Facebook and ask, and they'll tell you. They'll tell you. All right? You can always verify. The other thing you can do, in case you're not sure, is you can go into the search bar thing on your screen and type Abby Hagyard Wikipedia. Okay? There's a whole thing. And Wikipedia is not something that I could write. Wikipedia is crowdsourced. It's people, it's minions who write that stuff. Because I want you to feel safe. I want you to feel heard. I want you to feel respected. I want you to feel seen before you even decide to commit. All right? So that's the first thing. Second thing is the weekend is coming. And the weather is odd because, by the way, it's February. So I would like you to do a couple of things for me. The first one, when you go, is I want you to, if you would, share this with your loved ones and your friends and whatnot. And if you have time, right after this is over, I'm going to post the link to my YouTube channel because it seems to be convoluted to get there. So I'll post the link. And what I would really love you to do, even though you've already seen the video, is I would love you to go to YouTube and subscribe, because right now I have 49 subscribers, and I would like to have, 490,000, but one step at a time. So I'll make that pledge to you that after I get off here, I'll post the link to the YouTube channel, okay? You can find me on Wikipedia, you can find me on Amazon, you can look me up, you can talk to people, so that you feel safe making the decision to be one of my subjects in our book, Pivot Masters of the Galaxy, okay? All right, the weekend is soon upon us. Be good to you. Hug your loved one.